You've been told your entire life that reaching $1 million is about working harder. Put in more hours, get a promotion, start the right side hustle. But what if the very brain mechanism designed to keep you safe is the same mechanism sabotaging your wealth? There's a silent psychological trap operating inside your subconscious right now. A trap that quietly pushes you back every time you get close to financial breakthrough. It's not the economy, it's not inflation, and it's not your bank account. It's something far more dangerous, your brain. Because deep inside your psychology is a hidden limit, a comfort ceiling, and until you break it, your income will keep bouncing off the same invisible barrier again and again. Most people never realize this, and that's why 95% of the population never reaches true financial freedom. Imagine standing inches away from financial independence. You can almost see it. The investments are starting to grow, your skills are improving, opportunities appear. But every single time you get close, something pulls you backward. You hesitate, you delay, you second-guess the move that could change everything. And slowly, almost invisibly, you return to the exact same financial level you've always had. It feels like bad luck, but it's not luck. It's a mental loop. A loop created by the human brain's oldest survival system. And once you see it, you can never unsee it again. Most aspiring millionaires make one critical mistake. They spend hours studying the stock market, tracking investments, researching business ideas, but they never examine the most powerful factor controlling their financial future, their internal wiring. Because the real reason most people stay stuck isn't lack of opportunity, it's psychological pattern addiction, a deeply embedded cognitive bias that repels high-level success. And if you never identify it, you could remain stuck at your current income level for the next 10 years without even realizing why. To understand this trap, you have to go back thousands of years. The human brain did not evolve to build wealth. It evolved to survive. Your ancestors were not worrying about stock portfolios or business scalability. They were worried about food, shelter, and avoiding predators, which means the brain developed one overriding priority: minimize risk. Because for most of human history, taking the wrong risk could literally mean death. That survival wiring still exists today, but now it operates in a completely different environment. Instead of protecting you from predators, it protects you from financial uncertainty, and that's where the comfort ceiling forms. For many people, the most dangerous financial position is not poverty, it's the comfortable middle. A stable salary, predictable income, a few luxuries here and there, nice dinners, streaming subscriptions, the occasional vacation. This level of comfort creates something psychologists often call golden handcuffs. Your life feels stable enough that taking big risks becomes psychologically painful, but not wealthy enough to actually reach financial freedom. So instead of making bold moves that could create exponential wealth, you optimize for stability, small raises, small investments, small improvements, and your brain rewards this behavior with a sense of safety. But safety comes with a cost, because financial breakthroughs rarely happen inside comfort zones. Another hidden force makes this even worse. It's called loss aversion. Humans experience the pain of losing money almost twice as strongly as the pleasure of gaining the same amount, which means your brain reacts more emotionally to losing $1,000 than gaining $1,000, even when the long-term math clearly favors taking the risk. This psychological bias affects everything: investing, entrepreneurship, career decisions. Imagine two scenarios. In the first, you keep your savings in a stable account earning minimal returns. In the second, you deploy that money into a scalable investment with higher volatility, but far greater long-term upside. Logically, the second option may be superior, but emotionally, your brain perceives it as danger, and every market dip triggers anxiety. Your dopamine system reinforces the safer option: slow, predictable savings. even when it guarantees slower wealth accumulation. The exact moment when your protective instincts should evolve into strategic risk-taking, they instead turn into self-sabotage. But there's another myth quietly reinforcing this trap, a belief inherited from the 20th century, the idea that the path to wealth is simply working harder than everyone else. High output, long hours, relentless effort. For decades, this model worked in industrial economies, but today's wealth creation operates very differently. The first million is rarely built by trading hours for dollars. It's built through leverage, systems, ownership, technology, and increasingly AI-driven scalability. Yet many people remain psychologically attached to the idea that being busy equals progress. So they fill their days with tasks, emails, meetings, small operational work. It feels productive, but in reality, this busy work often becomes a coping mechanism, a way of avoiding the uncomfortable, high-stakes decisions that actually move the financial needle. The decisions involving risk, ownership, and scale. Your environment makes this even harder because humans are deeply influenced by social conformity. Your brain constantly measures your success relative to the people around you. If your social circle earns around the same income level, your brain quietly establishes that as the normal benchmark, a psychological wealth thermostat. If you begin moving significantly beyond that range, subtle social pressures appear. Friends question your decisions, family members worry about risks, conversations shift. Suddenly, success itself feels socially uncomfortable, so people unconsciously regulate themselves back towards the group average, not intentionally, but psychologically. At the same time, modern culture encourages another wealth-destroying behavior, status signaling. The pressure to display success through visible consumption, new cars, luxury gadgets, lifestyle upgrades. Each purchase feels like proof of progress, but these signals drain the very capital required to reach true financial independence. You look wealthy while delaying actual wealth creation. This leads to the final barrier, the execution gap, the point where knowledge stops translating into action. Most people today have access to endless financial education, podcasts, books, courses, strategies. But knowledge alone doesn't change financial outcomes. Action does. And action requires something deeper than information. It requires identity transformation. Because the moment someone begins approaching seven-figure wealth, their role changes. They're no longer just a worker earning income. They become something else, a capital allocator. Someone who directs money, systems, and opportunities into scalable outcomes. This shift is psychological before it is financial. Instead of asking, how can I work more? The question becomes, where should capital flow from maximum leverage? This is the identity shift that separates high earners from wealth builders. Workers exchange time for money. Capital allocators multiply resources. Breaking the comfort ceiling requires overriding your brain's default settings, not recklessly, but deliberately. The first step is recognizing when your survival instincts are misfiring in modern financial environments, when fear is protecting you from imaginary threats rather than real ones. The second step is recalibrating your environment. Surround yourself, physically or digitally, with people who normalize high-level success. Because what your brain perceives as normal dramatically influences what you believe is possible. The third step is reallocating attention away from low-impact activity. Identify the few decisions each year that could produce disproportionate financial outcomes. Focus there. Finally, redefine risk. True risk isn't volatility. It isn't temporary uncertainty. The greatest financial risk is spending decades inside a comfortable system that slowly caps your potential. Because the comfort ceiling doesn't feel like failure. It feels like stability, which is exactly why it's so difficult to escape. The truth is, financial freedom rarely requires superhuman intelligence, or perfect timing, or endless hustle. More often, it requires confronting a hidden psychological loop, a loop that convinces you safety is the same as progress. Once you break that loop, the rules change, opportunities look different, decisions become clearer, and the invisible ceiling that once limited your wealth finally disappears. Not because the world changed, but because you did.